Welcome back to the show. How are you doing?
I am great. It's good to be back here. I've been looking forward to it.
I have genuinely not known as much as I thought I knew about your life. You know, you've always
That's
lived.
the point.
Yeah, you've always lived with your life in the public eye, but writing this book and I guess getting to read it taught me new things about you as a person. For instance, many people may know that you were born in Iran, right? And people may know that your dad was a doctor there, but I didn't know why your dad was a doctor in Iran.
Yeah, because he couldn't get a job as a black doctor in the 50s at a major academic institution here in the United States. And he and my mom decided to explore outside of the United States and see if there was a better opportunity. And the best opportunity he found was helping to start a hospital in Shiraz, Iran. I was the second baby born in that hospital. They practiced on some other kid first. We're not sure exactly what happened to that kid, but that's what happened. And so, in a sense, he took me over the color line with my mom before I was born, and I was born into a world where I lived on a hospital compound with people from all over the world.
Right. It feels like that is the beginning and the defining characteristic of your story. Your journey seems to be a journey of overcoming obstacles, finding ways to get a better advantage or a better opportunity for yourself as a black woman, and that has made you who you are today. Do you see your life as a journey of just climbing a mountain constantly? Yeah,
but it's also a zigzag. And I think I started out playing it safe, practicing law at a big corporate law firm, bored to tears, and doing what everybody thought I should do. And Trevor, it wasn't until I started listening to the quiet voice inside of me that I swerved out way outside of my comfort zone and I started working in local government because I wanted to be a part of something bigger than myself, actually.
Right.
And it felt good. It was terrifying and exhilarating. And I really discovered that the adventure is in the swerve. It's in the zigzag, not the straight, boring line.
That's beautiful, because my little voice doesn't, yeah.
You swerved. You swerved big time.
No, I've swerved because of life, but like my little voice just tells me to eat more cookies. Let's talk about your career. You go into law, and you as you say, you're not fulfilled, but you're really good at it. And then your world takes you into public service. And through these journeys, step by step, you then come across a young lady by the name of Michelle Obama.
Michelle Robinson.
Michelle
Not even Michelle Obama.
I only think, I was like, no, she's always been an Obama in my head.
No.
Yes.
She was a bad ass in her own right.
Right. She really was. That's a thing a lot of people don't realize, is that she was kicking ass in her own world. You hired her. What did you see in her?
Oh, my gosh. Maturity beyond her years, intelligence. I mean, she saw her resume sitting on my desk. She never mentioned any of that. She told me her story. And she made herself human. And then she started asking me some really hard questions that I did not have the answers to.
Wow.
Like, well, what's going to be my responsibilities? And I just got this promotion. I'm trying to hire you. And don't you just want to work in the mayor's office? And she's, no, actually, I have some questions here.
That is phenomenal.
I offer her a job on the spot because she was so impressive. And she's like, yeah, I'll get back to you. And when she got back to me, she said, we got a problem here. My fiance doesn't think it's such a good idea. I'm like, well, who's your fiance and what do we care what he thinks? And she said his name is Barack Obama and he started his career as a community organizer and he's a little worried about me going into the mayor's office, a very political environment without any background in it, even though I want to do service. I'm committed to service. She said, would you have dinner with us and talk about it? And I said yes, and that was a really smart idea on my part.
You can't read this book and not think about how many small decisions impacted the White House and America's history forever, because your conversation with them in many ways leads to their conversations and their life decisions going forward. You're all on this journey together now. It's yourself and it's the Obamas, and you're heading toward the White House. When you get there, because I don't want to spoil those parts of the book, you really have to read that.
I want you to read
it's really
the book,
amazing.
right?
But when you get to the White House, what I really enjoyed in the book is how you now face challenges within a White House that loves you. And you have to speak to the president and say, hey, this environment is not the best that it could be for women and women's voices. Like, that was a powerful moment for me to read. I was like, oh, you just assume Barack Obama had it perfect, but he didn't, and you had to work on correcting that.
Well, you start out with an environment and you haven't built a culture yet. And I think everybody kind of comes to the table with their own baggage, and I had noticed that some of the women's voices were shrinking. And when I mentioned it to him, he said, well, that's not acceptable because I want everybody to speak up because I will make better decisions. And they're here because I value them. And that's what he told them. He invited them all over for dinner. And he said, if you're not speaking up and fighting for your ideas, it's not about you, it's about helping me make the best possible decisions. And that was empowering. You tell a group of women that they need to speak up and that you really care what they have to say. And we also started building relationships with one another. And so we'd go into a meeting and we had been to dinner the night before and we cared about each other. And so when you see somebody, there's a huge human element. I think it is so transferable to any work environment, any family environment, actually. You have to take the time to listen to each other, hear each other, and build trust. And over time, one of the comments President Obama made is that we went from having the best players on the field to the best team. And of that, we're all very proud.
That's really interesting as an idea. And I think that ethos was built in the run-up to the White House. That's what makes this journey in this book so interesting, is that we're getting to see like the before. It's really the prologue of how it all began. Let me ask you this. As an advisor and as a friend, what do you think Barack Obama had that reinvigorated America so much? How do you think he got people out to vote? Because another election is coming up. I don't know if you know this. And
oh yeah, I'm counting on it.
And now we're in a place where people are like, do these current Democrats have the same pull? Can they bring people out in the same way? What do you think it was about Obama that got people going the way he did?
I think he was authentic. He spoke directly to people. They felt that he heard them and understood their plight and that he was committed to trying to make their life better. Mm-hmm. He never focused a lot on who he was running against, but what he was running for. And I think that that's one of the things I've encouraged. The embarrassment of riches that we have in the field today is don't beat each other up. Prove to the American people that they are worthy of your trust.
Right.
And that you have a vision for our country that actually unifies our country and doesn't tear us apart. Because the tearing apart is not working.
Have you endorsed any candidates yet?
Not yet. I think it's early. I remind people that at this time in President Obama's first race in 2007, he was down by double digits and everybody thought Hillary Clinton was the invincible nominee. So I think it's important to give space for every day a new person is announcing. And that's an embarrassment of riches, I think.
I'm announcing right now.
I thought, that's why I came here. Well, if you're running, I might have to make an endorsement. But unless you're in the race, I think I want to wait and see. Having been through the kind of a marathon of a campaign, it's a test, as it should be. I want to see what they're like when they're under pressure. I want to see what they do when they're attacked both fairly and unfairly. I want to see how convincing they are that I should put my future and the future of my daughter and my grandchildren in their hands. It really is a big job, right?
It is a huge job. It is one of the biggest jobs in the world. And the candidate on the Democrat side who's looking best right now in the numbers is Joe Biden, who was part of the administration that you were advising in. He has been facing criticism from people who say, Joe, you have skeletons in your past. People focusing on Anita Hill, for instance. And Jill Biden recently came out and said, guys, it's time for us to move on. This issue has been buried. Essentially, it's done. How do you think Joe could go about answering people's concerns or responding to what people feel happened with the Anita Hill hearing?
Look, I think all the candidates are accountable for their past actions, and they have to explain them, and they also have to prove if they've evolved. And I think that people are capable of evolving and learning from past experiences. And the magic of the campaign trail is that you have to get out there every single day and prove to the people why they should trust you. That's the magic of our democracy. And so all the candidates have that same challenge, and they need to get out there and explain themselves and earn the trust of the American people.
Before I let you go, the book tells us where you came from, where you got to, but now the future, what does it hold? I mean, once you've worked in the White House, who do you advise after that?
Well, yeah, I guess myself is who I'm really advising right now. and I did a kind of a gut check, Trevor. I said, what do I care most about? Well, I care about gender equity. I care about criminal justice reform and ending gun violence. And I care about civic engagement. And so Mrs. Obama organized When We All Vote, which is a not-for-profit, nonpartisan entity last summer, and I chair that board. And I want to convince everybody out there that you have a stake in this democracy. And the most basic step is voting. And then get involved and show up at meetings, run for office yourself, feel as though you own this democracy, because 43% of eligible voters did not vote in the last election.
Right.
And elections have consequences that we all live with. And so don't abdicate your responsibility and disenfranchise yourself. So that's a big part of the message that you'll be hearing from me over the next few years, and fighting to level that playing field so every young kid in our country gets that fair shot.
Well, if anyone wants to get to where you are, now they have a manual on how to do it. Thank you
There
so
it
much
is.
for coming to the show.
Thank you.
Wonderful having
Thank
you
you
again.
all.
Finding My Voice is available now. Valerie Jarrett, everybody.